guys, Brutos here, and today I'm going to be doing the first of hopefully many painting tutorials on Warhammer 40k models. So what I decided to do today was something that a lot of people don't realise is out there. It's one of the new specialty paints out by Citadel. It's called Blood for the Blood God. And what you can do with this paint is get some really nice effects on your model, like really nice bloodied effects. Now, the trick is with this paint, it's not like the regular paints you use for Warhammer 40k. As you can see, it actually drops. Like, it's a very water-based paint, and when it dries, it becomes very solid, so you can actually have it drop and coat on all the different models, like so you can have it on different blood effects and whatnot on your models. But the main trick with this is that with the models you're painting, you have to get them right depending on the colour that you're putting it onto. Like, as you can see, we've got the light Ushbadi bone for the skin here, so that only needs 1 or 2 coats to get that nice texture that we've got here, whereas we're using Abaddon Black for the carapace and the claws and whatnot. We need several different layers to make it start to become really prominent, and it actually looks a lot brighter because I've got a white screen coming off onto this model. But when you're looking at it with just a white light coming down, it looks nice, dark and bloody, like it's been dried there, or it's freshly flowing, like it's a really nice, healthy, dark colour. Now, I don't know any ways to actually mix it or make it any lighter or darker. I wouldn't recommend it with this paint because, as I said, it's a very water-based paint to start with, and I feel that mixing it with other paints might ruin the consistency of the paint. So we might as well get started. So you can get Blood for the Blood God at any hobby store that sells Citadel paints. They should actually have it. I know Games Workshop, and I have a local store that also stocks it as well. But for this model that we're going to be working on, I did do some blood onto his claws here that you can't actually, you might just see. I'm not too happy with it. I've gotten to the stage where I like my models to be nice and gory. So we're going to be working on him. As you can see, he's a finished model, and you can do this after you finish the model, or you can do this how I've done on here. You can do it when you finish painting the model itself, but not the base, and I'll show you how you can use the base to further the effects as well with this model. So what you're going to want to need, you need a, depending on the model, I'm using a detailing brush from Games Workshop. If it's not Games Workshop brand, it's Citadel. I'm sorry about that. It's a Citadel brush, and then we have a Citadel standard brush as well. You can get these at Games Workshop. As I said, I've got a Games Workshop here in Cairns, so it's a lot easier for me to get. I'm not sure if they sell them online, but any sort of hobby brush will do for this. So what we're going to start doing is, you want depending on the effect you want a nice liberal amount of paint on it. And as you can see, it's already starting to drip and form on my brush, which is exactly what we want. So we can then start applying that to the areas that we want to have this bloodied effect. And you want to make sure you put it on quite liberally, because if you put it on if you put it on really thin, it's going to take lots and lots of layers to get the effect, and you can't really see it. So what we're going to do is just going to paint this up, get it looking nice, getting it looking nice and bloody. Don't forget to allow for actual paint to drip and collect and whatnot. That I find that's a really nice effect. So you might add an extra bit right on the end so it can form and collect right on this little bit here like it is. And you just work your way around the model doing this. For now, we're just going to work on the claws on a Tyranid Ravener. So it's not too hard to do this. Get this all done and dusted. I'm just using my webcam at the moment for this. I might invest in a better camera to have a better viewing perspective for this, but if I find that people do like this, I might do some different tutorials. I play Tyranids, it's the only army I have at the moment. But as you can see, the claws, applying liberal amounts. Make sure to make each of your models individual as well. Like, as you can see, this guy's been stabbing and slashing, so he's got blood dripping from everywhere, whereas this guy, I'm going to make this guy more of a precision killer. Like, he gets the job done very quickly, he doesn't need to get bloodied, he's not very bloodied, the only way he's going to get bloodied is if he's been shot at. So we're going to take that and abuse the paint, actually, because this paint is a very beautiful paint to work with. It can be frustrating at times, but once you know how much you want to apply, what effect you want, you know how much to apply to it. So as I said, you're still using very liberal amounts of paint here. So as you can see, he's a precision killer. He likes getting stuff done nice and quickly from what we can see on the blood. But unfortunately, the effect that I was hoping to do can't really be done, because he's not really bending over he's bending over his base, but nothing really falls onto it. So we can make the model nice and bloody. That's where the detailing brush comes in. So this is where the detailing brush comes in. So we've got his claws nice and bloody. With the detailing brush, we can get into parts where the standard brush can't. For example, the actual model itself. So what we can do is, we can actually get blood onto the model to make it look like he's been shot and have it drip down. Like, have it slowly drip down like that. So it looks like he's in a fight, he's bleeding. And as you saw on this other one, this guy's bleeding heavily. I've basically had it so his guts have been spilled. But this guy, I get the feeling that he's a precision killer. Not much gets in his way. Anything that does ends up dead. So he's not going to have that many wounds on him. And with this detailing brush, what you probably can't see at the moment is that I'm actually painting the little teeth up here near the ravener's mouth. You can do this with the standard brush, but I find it's a lot more easier to do with the finer detailing brush to get in there, get these smaller parts done. So as we can see, he looks like he's taken a little bit of damage. Might add a little bit back here. Make it look like he's taken some sort of wound, and then have it dripping down from there. And this is where the fine detailing brush comes into real effect, because you can have it nice and thin down on the end. I'm not sure if you can really see that, but he's losing a bit of blood there. It's streaking. And what we can also do is, we can say he's just been from a fresh kill on a victim, so we're going to add some blood onto his hand, onto his arm, so it looks like it's dripping down from his arm, like slowly leaking down his arm. And from this we can actually achieve another effect. So, eye it off, see whereabouts it should be, and then you can create it like the blood's been dripping from that actual appendage. So, the advantage of actually having the actual base on the model done when you do this is, you can actually follow the contours of the paint that you use for the base. So as you can see, he's got something, it's been bleeding, it's a quite recent kill because it's bleeding quite heavily. But we achieved this kind of effect, like a little bit of a river of blood that's dropped from this arm here. And that's what that effect's for. And don't forget, once you're doing it on one side, to affect it on the other. So, it's going to... I can see that it's actually going to pull from this end. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to have it as a bit of a stream and then a pull down on the bottom here. And it's going to look very bloody. So there we go. It's pulled right down in the bottom there. And that's the effect we're looking for. Now we can also have it that this Raven has clipped himself, as he's coming out of the ground, so we can just add a few streaks of blood here and there. But try not to overdo it. Like, as I said, you want to go into building the model with what... You want to go into painting the blood on the model with what you have in mind. Is it, with Tyranids, is it slaughter everything, or is it more of a methodical, clean killer and gets away with nice, clean kills? That's for Tyranids. So I'm not sure. Blood for the Blood God also works for Chaos. I've seen people use Chaos on Bloodletters really well. They actually use Blood for the Blood God as a base paint for the Bloodletter swords. And I've seen that work really well. But if you take a look at that, that actually looks like almost a blood-like consistency. So Citadel have actually really outdone themselves with this paint. It looks very much like blood-like. It drips and it oozes more than the other Citadel paints. As you can see there, it drips and it oozes off your brush, like so. And I love this paint. It works really well for Tyranids. It works for anything that really gets bloodied. Like, if you want to add finer detailing to champions, aspiring champions, captains, and whatnot for Space Marines, Necrons, if they've been recently in a battle with some organic life, you can have it dripping off their weapons, because their weapons are quite pointy and spiky. There's no doubt that once the going gets tough, they're going to start stabbing with their guns. And we can use it, and as I said, this paint is really nice to use. I quite like this paint. It's easy to paint with once you know what you're doing. This paint will just work wonders for you. Nice, bloody, grotesque battles this rabbit has been in. So there we go. From there, that's basically it. That's all I'm going to do on this rabbit. He's taken some he's taken some wounds. He's dealt a lot of wounds. Blood's dripping everywhere. So that's that Ravener done. So as you can see, it's not that hard to get the effect you're looking for. Like, I used maybe 3 brushfuls on my standard brush, and maybe not even a brush and a half full. So you actually get a lot of detail out of just a small pot, these are the standard pots that these come in, and you can get a lot of detail off of these. I'm gonna go around and add blood to a lot of my other different models where they deserve it, or I might just stick it on my newer models. I don't know yet, I'll decide from there. But that's basically Blood for the Blood God and what you can do with it. You can make it look nice and bloodied. I'll stick a description in the below of a model I've done earlier with Blood for the Blood God, and actually using Space Marine bits as well on the base. But I gave that away to a friend and her family because she's moving out and they really like the model, so does their granddaughter, and I'm really good friends with this family, so I can't stand to take it away from them. So I'll throw a picture of that in the description below, but as we can see, this guy just needs to have his base finished, and he looks nice and bloodied coming out of that. His guts have been ripped open, but he doesn't care, he's a Tyranid. So anyway, this has been Brutos. This is my first painting tutorial, hopefully not my last. I'll see what I can do next. I'll take suggestions in the description, in the comments as well. So I'll see what I can do. I'm mainly doing Tyranids at the moment. That's all the money I have just to work on Tyranids at the moment. But if you want to see any effects with Tyranids, just feel free to ask and I'll get it done for you guys. So this is Brutos, and thanks for watching.